Good morning, everyone. I know there is a lot going on. High views for, I was going to go live tonight. I only have a little bit of time this morning. I have some things I have to do today. So I wanted to clear up some of, I don't know if any of you guys are seeing this. If you haven't seen it, their Squirrel Girl Crime Talk released a video. She actually did speak with Nick, the AAA guy. So the tow truck driver is obviously very real. Many of us have known about him for a long time. Many of us have reached out to him, and he wouldn't reach out to people. Squirrel Girl was able, thankfully, to make contact with Nick. So we do things. I'm trying to get the footage pulled up for you guys. We worked together a little bit. We figured out that the vehicles needed to be checked for cameras. Do they have front and back cameras? Is it just one of those, this truck has it, that truck has it, but maybe not this truck? Well, here you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vehicles. There's 6 vehicles right here that I was able to verify. This was just yesterday. As you know, I had covered the footage of the cameras a couple days before that. Obviously, now you know why. I do give little bits of information here and there as I can, and that kind of just shows you, kind of shows you what I'm looking into, kind of shows you where I'm going. Like I've told you guys, every day your mind can change on this case, because every day there's something new that happens, that you're sent, that you're, information that you find on your own. I told you guys I was going back to the very beginning, and that's what I have been doing. Obviously, this takes us back to the beginning before Kylie was even located. So I don't know how many of you guys did actually see the video. We can discuss it, watch some pieces of it. But I wanted to get you guys the footage because everybody's asking. I was in the comments. I was watching because obviously, I knew the video was coming out. Squirrel Girl and I have talked pretty much daily, and we wanted to make sure that this had to be handled a certain way. She made contact. I verified. And that's how, like I said, you guys, if you work as a team together, things get done a lot more efficiently, because you can kind of be like, okay, well, I have this going on, what about this? And if you use your what your research is and maybe somebody else's research is, and you put them together instead of pushing each other away, you might actually get to the bottom of a few things. So like I said, you guys, if we work together, there's a lot that can come from that. And I believe most people are working together at this point. I mean, obviously still people aren't going to see eye to eye, and oh my goodness, this is going to create such a this is going to create a storm, because like I said the other night, I don't know which way, every day you don't know which way to go, which way to think. It's really hard because information changes, and it changes daily. I'm going to pull up the picture, you guys, of the camera, the actual cameras that I took, because we went over these, and we went over them for a reason, you guys. We went over them for a reason. So like I said, I'm not going to discuss something with you that I can't discuss yet. I'm not going to, anything like, I'm not going to put something out there that's going to jeopardize anything. I want to see information. I want to see what your guys' thoughts are. So there's really a reason to everything that happens. And yeah, there's a couple of days that I disappear. There's things that happen all the time, you guys. So it's hard right now to wrap your head around this, because if you think about it, and you have to think about the fact that there is now no camera footage. Nick was very sure about there being camera footage, as I don't even have this picture shared. I apologize, you guys. Nick was very positive about there being camera footage. I mean, I don't know how to make this any more clear. for anybody, but I mean, there's definitely camera footage, and this is just one of the other, the how many did I count? 5 or 6 trucks there. So I want you guys to understand there's 100% cameras on here. So Nick's frustration is very, very, very real. Nick's frustration is very heartfelt, because he wants the truth out just like we do. I don't know if you guys saw my comment on Squirrel Girl on her video, but please, I'm begging you, Squirrel Girl is asking you to do not contact him, do not harass him, do not put him down in any way, shape, or form in this. This is his truth. This is what he knows. This is what happened to him. And he's speaking on it. And a lot of people have wanted to hear from him, and we have heard from him. You guys, Squirrel Girl talked to him. So with that, he's done what he can. He is, he would love to speak to the mom or the father. I'm going to do my best to see what I can come up with to get, any information to Squirrel Girl so she can get them in contact. If you have any information on, obviously we know how to reach the mom. I don't feel as though she wants to. I can't speak for her. I won't speak for her. But I feel that the father, I feel that if the rumors are true that were circulating, that he is still seeking justice, then I do believe that he very much so would want to speak with Nick. And that now, if you think about it, that now is a very easy opportunity. That can happen very easily now, because we have somebody that many of us know, many of us watch her videos, that has spoken with him, that has his phone number. So I mean, that is a possibility, you guys. And once you get one family member that, if maybe with what he hears, what he knows, even watching any of these videos, it might make, it might change things a little bit and get a little more involvement, because if a parent's pushing for something to be taken care of, I believe personally that law enforcement takes it a little more seriously versus, okay, accident, case closed. But if both parents are willing to accept that finality, then I believe they kind of just, this is, okay, it's an accident. But you guys already know where I stand on the law enforcement aspect of this. I already knew it was going to be ruled an accident. I do have a picture I need to find. I wasn't planning on going live until tonight, but I kept seeing comments coming through about the video. So here's the pictures. I wanted to put that out there for you guys. I already have, obviously, but I want you guys to have that fresh in your memory. So these are 100% vetted. I haven't been out there once or twice. I've been out there a couple times. Each time to check to see, do the trucks go home at night? Different things like that. Each time I went, the trucks there was really no way to tell. This day it was different. I don't even know if this has a timestamp on that one. So many different trucks. I mean, there's 6 this day. On this day particularly that I was here with this camera, there was only 3, I think. So another morning I went, there was 4. So I can't 100% verify that yet. So I don't know if these go back to their homes at night. I'm not sure of that. Let me look at some of these questions. I do have one thing that I really want. And I feel like a lot of you guys really want this too. I want one picture. I want one picture. I want one video. I want one anything of KIELY Rodney being at the party at the sanctuary at Prosser Campground. I want one picture. I want something. Show me that KIELY was there. The reason why I say this is because we now have Nick, who has said that, he saw her and it wasn't, it was the next day. One, we have canine search dogs that did not pick up a trace of KIELY Rodney. I personally am not going to discuss why they should have. You guys know all the accounts on what was found in her autopsy. The accounts on what people were going to the woods to do certain things. I don't want to personally speak on that because that's just, I don't. But there should be some kind of trace of her. If people are going into the woods, there should be a trace. There was absolutely nothing picked up by these dogs. I haven't seen a picture. Have any of you guys seen a picture? One picture. That's all I'm saying. One picture to prove that Kylie was at the party. That is where my confusion comes in, because you guys know I am adamant about those fire cams. You know how I feel about them because I verified it with my own vehicle. So think about the situation mentally I've been in for quite some time now, because I've been, working with Squirrel Girl. Um, you know, you I I am having a really hard time with this, because you come up with your theory. You put, okay, this is exactly how it happened, and then it all 100% makes sense, and then something happens that changes the complete, you know, completely changes it. Um, it's hard it's hard to figure out which way that goes at that point. Now, let me bring it back to, I have something I wanted to share with you guys, but I jumped on a little too early today, but I had to because of the comments. I have seen this, and I don't know if I've seen it on people's videos, but I personally have found this. I've had it in my phone for a couple months now, and it's always been odd to me, because I took Boca out. You guys remember that I took Boca out, and the reason I took Boca out is because I was told from a very, very credible source. Very, and when I mean credible, I mean it doesn't get much more credible than this. If somebody doesn't know that I personally am looking into this, then it doesn't get more credible than this. So if I am told that Nick's accounts have been debunked, then that's going to be really, really, really hard for me to sit there and be like, okay, that still carries weight to it. And I, like I said, there's certain things I cannot disclose, but the weight of this was discredited, this is not true, this isn't happening, this never happened, that held so much weight with me that I completely took it out. So I'm having to put it back in and look back on the fact that somebody that has absolutely no reason to lie to me. And mind you, I have multiple people that have absolutely no reason to lie to me, that have much more information on this than I probably ever could, legally find. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to wrap your head around that. Like, how could you? I don't know. So unless everybody just quickly change their stories, it's hard for me. So back to this comment. So this comment that I had, it had basically said that I saw Kylie 2 days after with a friend, or with the friend. I can't remember verbatim what it said. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. But I want to I'll play that Nick video for you guys right now. But I want to I want to verify that. I haven't, because the ties were really, really close to certain people, and so I didn't want the person not to respond. But at this point, I just have to reach out. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen that comment, but it was somebody saying, hey, I'm 100% positive that I saw Kylie 2 days after, or I believe it was 2 days after, walking with a friend. So there are things, like I've said, there are so many different ways this can go. And if I showed you guys my screenshots, I have thousands of screenshots. I can't imagine how many some of these other people have on their phone, because I can't even keep up with them. And then I screenshot, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got this. That's great. I need to put that with this. And then it's a screenshot. So do you know how hard it is to find a screenshot in a screenshot folder with thousands of oh my gosh. So it's been quite the headache, you guys. For any of you that are just joining, I just turned off the screen so I can show you guys the video from Squirrel Girl. And then I'm going to let this play for a little bit for any of you guys that are just joining that haven't, let me actually take this off so you can have sound, haven't actually watched it yet.
Yet I've seen some people do emotional extortion. That I have an issue with. Appreciate that you are here. Topic. Can you share with whom? So it was a few days before October 28th that he responded back to me, and we set a date and time of October 28th for a phone conversation. I had a 42-minute phone conversation with Nick, the tow truck driver that was featured in the AWP YouTube documentary. I'm sure you guys all know who he is. I'm going to share with you things that he shared with me that are pertinent to this investigation, pertinent to this research, without my commentary. I'm going to respectfully ask that there are no attempts made to contact him or harass him regarding the sharing of this information. His story needs to be told. It was told to AWP, but we only heard part of it. So right now I'm going to share with you the rest of the story. Please, I ask you again to not badger him in real life, calling him, emailing him, private messaging him, contacting family. If there are additional questions that you have, please feel free to list them down, but I think that we've got everything that we need. Okay? What it all means, I don't know. But these are his beliefs. This is his story. This is his information. Okay? So I'm going to just kind of read it in list form. And these are things that were stated directly to me in a telephone conversation with Nick, the roadside assistance guy. So if you don't have a pen and paper in hand or something to type with, I would recommend it. There's going to be a lot of information here, and it's very important that you have it so that you can make a determination on what is, critical to you or what fits into your scenario or that type of thing. Okay. So again, this is Nick talking. This is not me stating facts. This is not me stating opinion. These are statements that he made to me. Okay? I just want to be clear on that. We do not know if these are factual. These are his thoughts and feelings and opinions. He started right out. First of all, I'll just say that he has been reluctant to speak with anyone. He was praying on it also and felt that I was the one that he was supposed to talk to. So that made me feel awesome. Okay, because wow, I couldn't believe I was able, that he, contacted me back and then took my phone call. So that was just amazing. So to me, that was God answering my prayer. Okay, so he started out with, I don't want to be harassed over this. I know people are against me on YouTube and that kind of stuff. And I told him I can't control that, and that, that's just how it is, but that I would request that kind of stuff can stop. And I certainly don't want to instigate any of that. And that was why I was kind of hesitant on.
I just saw a comment real quick. Sorry, I wanted to go over. One of Nick's bosses said that he wasn't even there. So, I mean, if you guys haven't watched this, please just watch this. It's in. How do you tell somebody that they weren't at a location, let alone tell them that the footage doesn't exist? And I mean, I'm gonna press play. I just had to comment on that. Sorry, guys.
On putting information out, but I just feel that this information is important because there are people working behind the scenes that I'm not even aware of, and that may never even come up in a comment section where this may help someone. But this information is where it needs to be, which is above which is above anyone that I would possibly feel is connected to any type of cover up. So I feel comfortable with that, or confident with that. Okay. Nick says, I know for a fact she was at Boca. Okay. He just came out with that sentence. I know for a fact she was at Boca. He's talking about that day, that Saturday, August 6th. This is his thoughts and feelings. And keep in mind, this is what he knew. This would be what he told AWP. Because by time AWP rolled into town, he had already had all of this experience. So this would be the information that he shared with AWP. And AWP only shared parts of it. Okay? Shared parts of it for their own reasoning. And now I can understand why. But this is information. All of this stuff was in his brain, was in his mind before AWP. And he basically reached out to AWP when they rolled into town because he was like, something is wrong here. This isn't making sense. So that's why he basically went to AWP to get to help. He has a huge heart for the mom. He's like, this mother deserves to know what happened to her daughter. So he has a huge heart for the mom and the dad, but he just was really, at that time and still, and I don't think he keeps a big eye on YouTube, from what I gather. But okay. He says, I know for a fact she was at Boca. There was a problem with her vehicle. It was between neutral and drive. He said, I wish that would have got portrayed better in the show.
Okay, guys, pay attention to this part. Neutral and drive. In between neutral and drive. Pay attention, okay?
Of AWPs, because it didn't get communicated right. It wasn't that it was totally in neutral. It was like stuck in between the two. Like her vehicle was turned off. She was not on the side of the road yet. It might have been turned off while she was still driving. Almost like she was in some sort of distress, or there was some type of distress between the two of them, and her vehicle was turned off or trying to be slammed into another gear or taken out of gear. Okay, those are his own words.
Marco, I don't know if you know, but this we're trying to figure out. I'm still doing research. I'm almost positive Squirrel Girl is still doing research on this, but this is AAA. This is not the towing company that everybody thinks it is. It's AAA. And I've seen the comment about possible van. He keeps saying he was in a van. I watched that like 10 times, the AWP story. I never once heard him say van. He said vehicle. I have not, at any of the times that I've been to AAA, ever seen a AAA van. All of their trucks, the smaller ones, these ones right here, these ones, they all have gas cans on them and such like that. These ones do not. So I believe these ones, and if anybody can look into this further or has looked into it further, or I know that V is 4 on here is a it has a tow truck or works for tow trucks. I'm not sure. I haven't figured it all out yet. I'm trying to get through the comments. But I haven't seen any in Reno Sparks that have, a van. And I matched up numbers for specific reasons. I didn't see any vans out here. These two with the, just a regular tow on the back, they had the gas cans on them. These I did not see on them. Obviously, you can see right there is not one on them. So I believe these would be used for just regular service calls, whereas these would be used for like the big, the tows on a flatbed type thing. And that's just my opinion. So I will vet that. I will verify that. But I wanted to give you guys that information because I personally, and I ran this by Squirrel Girl too, I've never heard a van being mentioned. So if anybody does have that where a van is mentioned by Nick himself, not anybody else, but only Nick, I would like to see that. So if anybody does have that, please do send it to me, because like I said, I will 100%, I stick with what I say. So if I am wrong, I would like to, put that out there also. So, but I personally haven't seen any AAA vans in Reno or Sparks.
So that's what he's thinking, the reasoning. He said all of the lights on the vehicle turned on like normal. There didn't appear to be any problem with the alternator, any problem with the battery. So he wasn't able to figure out, what the issue was, and that ended up being what it was. It looked like it was in, so it was stuck in between the two gears. Okay. And he regretted that that wasn't portrayed better, because he said a lot of people gave him a hard time about that. So it was like in between the two gears. I asked him if he knew the kids from Truckee. Specifically, I named a couple names, and he said, no, I don't know any of them. I don't know any of these kids from Truckee. So that's what his word was. I do not know any of these kids from Truckee, and I gave him some names, and he did not recognize those. Okay, and again, this is what he's saying. I tried to ask good questions. He had no idea about the fire cam footage. He had never heard about it. And that kind of blew his mind, because he was like, well, how can that be? Because I saw her Saturday. Okay. So take that for what it's worth. He wanted to know if I knew what gear the vehicle was in when it was found underwater. So he has the same kind of questions that I do, that we do. So that tells me that either AWP didn't know, or they didn't tell him, because they spoke to him. He has spoken to them, to Nick. I'm sorry, to Doug. So Nick has spoken to Doug, or texted, or some type of communication since then. But Nick, the tow truck driver, roadside assistance guy.
Doug, sorry guys, Doug, that's a great question, because remember the footage does not exist, but I personally have heard that they they identified the people in the tow truck, but I don't remember where I heard that from, so I will look that up. I don't know if it was a presser, I don't know where I heard that from, but yeah, how did they identify the people if there is no footage?
Guy does not know what gear it's in, and that's one thing that he would like to know. One thing we would all like to know, that we may not ever know unless we see the actual CHP report. He didn't know who Jared was when I mentioned Jared about something. He didn't even know. He was like, who's that? Because I said, well, according to what Jared said on the certain channel, it sounded like it may have been in neutral. And he was like, Jared who? And he didn't know who Jared was. So, and then he referred to Doug as the one with the beard. So that tells me, even though I said I wasn't going to give my commentary on this, but my first thought was, okay, so in the video with AWP, he was introduced as a long-term member and supporter of AWP. Well, it was kind of weird, because if you were a longtime supporter of AWP, you would know who Jared is. And then I would think you would know Doug by name. So that may have been like put into the video, but maybe he was not as long-term of a member or supporter of AWP as kind of what was portrayed. But he didn't know who Jared was. And I don't think he still knows who Jared is. And he referred to Doug as, the one I talked to, the one with the beard. He said the most disturbing thing to him, or that he can't wrap his mind around, is that of all the people that tried contacting him, both the mother and the father were the two that he would have answered the phone to, and that he was hoping would contact him. Okay. So that just blows his mind. And still to this day, well, as of October 28th, that's when I had this phone conversation with him. He didn't understand why all these other people are trying to contact him. But, both Lindsay and Daniel failed to do so. So with that information, I have, I am working to connect Daniel directly with Nick.
Doug, can you chat a little bit more about that, or email about that? I definitely want to know, because like I said, I've heard that the two people were accounted for. You know, they were vetted, and you know, whatever. But like I said, I don't remember. You guys get it, right? There's so much going on that's why I took it back to the beginning, because look what just happened. I'm sure I missed a bunch in while all this was happening, because you have to think I was stuck on working on the AAA with, you know, Squirrel Girl, trying to figure out, okay, how does this tie in and how does this not tie in? And yeah, Doug, if you can let me know a little bit more about that. And then Patrick, yeah, I don't know, and that's the thing, when it comes to uh, the information, you guys, you obviously, like I said, Nick has his truth. Nick saw Kylie. He's sure about Kylie, you know, and we'll get to that in just a second. He's sure about Kylie, but how? I mean, if he's watching YouTube, how did he not see that? I don't know. Um, Maybe he, you know, doesn't watch every video. You have to think there are tons of videos out there. I even if I look up Kylie Rodney just to kind of see, you know, like I said, I'm going backwards. Um, and I'm checking, you know, comments. I'm checking all kinds of stuff like that. But if I just put that in, I don't necessarily have the fire cams pop up for me every time. So you would kind of specifically have to be looking for that, for me at least. But I don't know why. I feel like everybody's search might turn out a little differently based on things that they have searched prior. Um, so like I said, this is the information that Nick is giving. This is his story. He's, you know, he's coming forward with it. I have so much respect for him for doing so, because, you know, many of us have, many of us have reached out to him, you know, and so he felt safe. He felt comfortable speaking to Squirrel Girl, and you know, that's exactly what we needed, you guys. So this is, you know, his side of the story. Everybody's been asking for his side of the story. Well, this is his side of the story, and there's more to it. I don't know if you haven't watched it all, you guys, definitely keep listening. Okay, I'm gonna keep putting up comments, and you know, I obviously will stop and talk about certain ones that, you know, are really, wow, that was really loud, that really speak out to me. But like I said, does anybody have a picture yet? Does anybody have a video yet of Kylie being at the party? I'm still wondering if it does anybody have that? I mean, there's 430 of you guys in here. Has anybody seen one yet? I don't. I personally haven't. So curious about that.
So that shows me right there that, you know, it shows me that he cares. He cared enough about putting himself on the line to go public with this to AWP. And that's what he was so confused about, is why the mom and the dad never contacted him. And he would talk to them, and he still would talk to them. So I'm hoping that that can happen, and praying about that. And that could be excellent, because if he could share with them, you know, the information that he has, would be wonderful. Okay, so let me get this in order here. Okay. We were all told, or led to believe, or maybe it was just my understanding, but it sounded to me, and to those that I communicate with on this, that there was a 100% confirmation that it was Jagger. That's the way I understood. I remember seeing Jared on a channel, and he said, you know, 100% confirmation. Okay. Which I've never thoroughly believed, because Jared wasn't even there. Jared wasn't part of that. Okay. Couldn't prove it, because I hadn't spoke to Nick. Nick is not positive that it was Jagger. He said that AWP showed them a series of photos What they explained was her boyfriend, or maybe her ex-boyfriend. It started out with her boyfriend or maybe ex-boyfriend, he said. He said this person was explained just like he did in his video. He talked about his height, his frame, his hair. He spoke about it to me as acne in the AWP video. He made some mention about like freckles, but in my conversation said it looked like acne. He didn't say it was acne. It was quote unquote looked like acne. And then of course the San Francisco ball cap. So when they were showing him photos, he saw the San Francisco ball cap, he recognized the hat. Okay, so it was not 100% identification on Jagger. I asked him if I would to show him pictures, if he would recognize anyone, and he said that's all he remembers, and he wouldn't. I since then sent him photos of people, and he just is not sure. Okay, he just is not sure, and he never told them he was sure. He said that the girl was so distressed about her vehicle and being there that night, he was focusing on her because she was very distressed. He said the whole thing was just very odd, and I was just more focused on the girl. Okay, now this is the part that blew my mind. Okay, I believe what I'm going to tell you next is what AWP didn't air. Okay, I don't know this for a fact, but this is just what I'm thinking. Keeping in mind that what he's telling me right now is what he told AWP before Kylie was found. So when AWP was there, he told them the same thing that he's telling me. That he saw them the next day, at Boca, that whole story. He told AWP, I have video proof. He said, I found AWP. I told him I have video proof. I want to help you guys out. I gave AWP all of my information in order to help Kylie's mom to find her daughter. I told them everything I knew. I told them everything that happened. AWP said it would blow our mind. Remember, it would blow our mind if we had the whole story. If it went a certain way, we would put the rest of the video out. This is what Nick told me. This is what I believe or understand that he told AWP. Nick, the roadside assistance guy, told me that he is 100% confident that it was Kylie. He feels 100% that it was Kylie. I asked him if he would bet $1 million on if he could be wrong. He said that he would bet it. I said, all of the girls in Truckee seem to look the same. He said, I am 100% confident that that was Kylie Rodney that I saw. So that shook me. It literally it shakes me a little bit right now. I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared for that because I thought he 100% identified Jagger, but wasn't sure on the girl. That's what I understood. But he was not 100% sure on the guy. But he was so confident about it being Kylie, and he wouldn't sway from it. He wouldn't, and I challenged him on it because I was of the belief that the fire cam, that's 100% true. There's just no possible way. Okay? And I still don't know what's what. Okay, but it's all about finding facts.
All right, so I wanted to talk about your comment, Candy. So yeah, 100% verified that it's Kylie, you guys. 100%. Uh, Sorry, I was reading something else. 100% verified that it's Kylie, but the other person can't be verified. So, um, that part's hard. That just means that, I mean, if you saw these two people, and mind you, he's probably paying attention. He's probably paying attention to both of these people. Obviously, one he's sure is Kylie. So Kylie and unknown at this point. I mean, like I said, I have my theory. You guys have yours. I don't share names on my thing, even if as you see, I'll comment in here. I'll use an initial. I'm not doing that. Um, but like I said, he doesn't know who that other person is. Now, if you're in a situation, especially the situation that Nick is in, where he said he feels uncomfortable with how they're interacting, where he says that something's off there, something definitely, where the vehicle was, and the shifting being between neutral and drive. Obviously, he's paying attention to both of these people. The fact that he cannot 100% positively identify the other person based off of pictures that are being shown to me means that only pictures of that person are being shown to him. So I don't personally think that any other pictures were shown to him besides that picture of the person in question. So that's something definitely, you know, obviously we want we want that ID. We need that ID. We're obviously going to run into a lot more obstacles than anybody had thought, because if it's to the point of Nick's boss saying, no, you didn't even go to Truckee, what are you or you didn't even go to Boca, what are you talking about? No, there's no video cameras, from one. And then no, there's no video cameras, but not saying you didn't go there. So there's a lot more now, you guys. There's video footage that is non-existent. I mean, we have a positive, he's positively identified Kylie. um that's hard, because who's this guy? We're still at square one with that. And that's where you have to put everything together. I personally, this is made me go back to a couple ideas that I had before. I won't speak on those, you guys know. And that's the other thing, is if you're a channel that does speak on them, I mean, you're more than welcome to brainstorm with me. I have no problem doing that off channel. But I'm not going to drag anybody through the mud on my channel. I'm not going to name drop. I'm just not that channel. So if you are, I will brainstorm. I'm not going to, obviously, uh, I might have something that you need a screenshot that I grabbed. I don't know. But if, as much as my time allows, I will try to, help you get information as well, because that's something that I don't do. But I obviously I have to have names to come up with, who I think did this, and why, and all that. And everybody does. It's just something I choose not to do on my channel. I'll cover things, but I won't discuss them. So let's get to the rest of this, you guys.
So this is what Nick said. Now, the reason that Nick felt so compelled to find AWP is because of what transpired after he realized that the vehicle that he was called to him appeared to be Kylie Rodney. He called law enforcement. I'm not going to name the agencies. Okay, that's going to the correct people that are up higher, that are up high. He spoke to 2 agencies about the footage with him. Okay. He spoke to 2 different law, and this is coming from him. He's saying he spoke to 2 different law enforcement agencies regarding the footage. Then another agency took over the case took over the part talking to Nick, took over the part of the Nick part. Okay. And then he was told there wasn't any footage. And he's like, well, no, there was footage. I've even talked to these two agents.
Hey, you guys, hold on. I'm seeing you guys. I mean, there's quite a few people in here right now. I don't bash other channels on my channel. I don't even really speak about other channels on my channel. So you guys, please don't bash other channels and chat. It's not what I do. I don't like that. So it doesn't bring justice to Kylie. It doesn't help the case in any way, shape, or form. I get it. Everybody's gonna, we're not always gonna agree to just, it's hard to say it right for everybody to understand, but I just don't want to do that, you guys. So if you could just, try to keep that respectful in the chat, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
About it, and they got the footage. And then Nick is like, I had my GPS on my phone to show I was there. Well, we spoke to this person and this person at your place of employment, and there was no footage. And he's like, what do you mean? This doesn't make any sense. I've already spoken to 2 agencies. Of course we have footage. We have cameras on the front and backs of our vehicles. So he immediately was like, what in the world? So he went and he spoke to higher up people at his work. One said, nope, there's not any footage. None at all. And you weren't even up there that day. And he was like, yes, I was up there that day. I even have it on my cell phone that I was up there that day. And we have cameras on the front and the backs of our vehicles. And he told me the make and model of the cameras. Then he talked to another boss, an even higher up, and he just said that there wasn't any footage, but didn't deny that Nick was out there that day. So Nick is like, what is going on here? What is going on here? Because I know that there are cameras because I'm in the vehicle. I know it's recorded. 2 law enforcement agencies know that he said, Nick's words were, 2 law enforcement agencies or these investigators know Kylie was in that video. He discussed it with them. And then all of a sudden, when this other agency takes over, all of a sudden, it's like, nope, there isn't any footage. There never was any footage. And now one of his bosses are saying he wasn't even up there that day. So he is like, what's going on? He then, after not too much time, found another place of employment, put in his 2 weeks notice, worked there, and then went to a new position somewhere else. That is verified. He did not get fired. That I was able to verify. Funny thing is, so to verify some of this stuff, so I contacted, and this was really weird, but I contacted, first I wanted to prove that there are cameras. So I did research on the camera company. I did research on, what they look like. And immediately I got a hold of Cece at CCTV because she lives over in that area. And I said, hey, can you do me a favor? Couldn't tell her why, couldn't tell her what for, couldn't tell her, but hey, can you go to, this address and track down these trucks? He gave me the truck numbers that he drove, and see if there are cameras. And sure enough, there are cameras. And she put a live video out about that. There are cameras in the front of and the rear of the vehicles. Okay. The tow trucks.
Alice, absolutely, absolutely. It's hard. It's there's no 2 ways about it. It is hard, but guess what? There we have his work saying that there is no video. We have his work saying you didn't even go there. So yeah, no, it's really hard to believe. All of it's hard to believe. Can you imagine, being part of something that you're like, oh my gosh, that was that girl, and then it ended up being, oh my gosh, you weren't even there, and then having to, you know what you saw, you know how you felt during that situation, you know what you witnessed, but now you have your own work telling you, no, what are you talking about? I mean, that's hard. That's really hard. I mean, it makes sense why he's so quiet, because wow, I speak up, I talk, and nobody believes me. Everything that I know is true is missing all of a sudden. Yeah, no, that, I mean, it this entire case is hard to believe, because how do you fail a 16-year-old this bad, and nothing, you have nothing to speak on it. So you know what, I think it was good that he came forward. I understand there's going to be a lot of no, you can't prove this, no, you can't prove that. There's going to be a lot, you guys. I mean, that's to be expected, because this is something everybody's been wondering. Okay, everything, fire cam adds up, this adds up, this adds up. You take Boca out, it all adds up. Well, then you put Boca back in, nothing adds up. Absolutely nothing adds up. Fire cams don't add up. All the time that I spent looking at my vehicle going down there, matching up all those frames, that all matches up. But what does it match up to? What does my video match up to? So that's what I'm saying, is you have to kind of, it's a really hard line right now, because do you stick with what you've seen and what you believe, or do you take it back to the beginning like we are, and okay, what does this Boca story have to do, and how does it tie in, and why did the dogs never ever pick up Kylie, and why is there no video footage or pictures or anything showing Kylie there? There are videos that say everybody was taking pictures, everybody was taking videos. There's videos of videos. There's videos of people taking videos. Where are those videos? There's not one single picture or anything with Kylie. I have not seen anything. How did those all get scrubbed? How did those all disappear? Wouldn't those be what you showed when you're looking for a missing child? Wouldn't you show a picture of her at a party, unless she wasn't at the party? That's the only thing I could think. But I don't want to throw speculation out there. I take what I just said with a grain of salt, because I don't know. I'm still working on that part too, just like all of you guys are. So I just want to, let you know, I'm having a hard time with Kylie being at the party, because I haven't seen it. Seeing is believing, right? Well, we haven't seen Kylie at the party. We obviously have no clue who this guy is, but Nick supposedly, he knows who that is Kylie. And you have to think, and I'm seeing in the comments, well, how the heck is he going to know who that is? After that incident, and then him realizing it's Kylie, I'm sure he looked at many photos of Kylie before going on national television. He was going on national television. Now, I've always said I didn't understand how or why he found them, or how that works. He was at Best Buy in Reno. I know exactly where that is. I personally wouldn't just drive by and be like, oh, look, there's AWP, I'm going to go stop. Unless he knew they were coming in that night, he had to get this off his chest. Those are things that, you have to take into consideration. It's really, it puts you in a really weird spot, because now what makes sense anymore? I mean, nothing really ever made sense, but when you finally think you get to, okay, now I have all this, I can actually, get it to somebody, because this shows this, and this shows this, and 100% this makes sense, and then boom, this happens, and nothing makes sense anymore. So
Have vehicles. I know a lot of people keep talking about a van. He refers to them as a truck, and all that Cece's been able to find are trucks. So, and they are yellow. So by time AWP rolls into town, Nick is like, what's going on here? I called law enforcement. They pulled the footage. I talked to two different agencies about it, So he's thinking I did the right thing, everything else. And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, nope, there isn't any footage. There isn't any footage. And he goes to his bosses and he's like, what do you mean there's not any footage? Nope, there's no video. And the one guy says, you weren't even up there. And this coincides with what the family was told. Okay. Because the person on social media here that speaks with the family was told, the family was told there was no footage. Okay. So Nick went to AWP going, I don't know what's going on here, guys. Something's being covered up because there was footage, and I'm 100% it was Kylie. I talked to these two agencies about it being Kylie, and now all of a sudden they're saying that there wasn't any footage there. So what's going on? So I believe that's the big, if you guys knew what it was, it would blow your mind. Because that blows my mind. That there was footage, there are cameras, front and back. He thinks it was, he feels strongly it was Kylie. All of a sudden his bosses are saying, that there's no footage, there's no video footage at all. Like his cameras just weren't recording that night. Funny thing is too, I called 2 different times to the AAA hotline for that branch. I called in the middle of the night twice and asked them to confirm with the Sparks branch if they have video cameras on their trucks. I said, yeah, I'm, broke down. I just want to verify, I'm out here by myself. I just want to make sure that your cameras have trucks for safety. Okay, let me call the branch. They called the branch, would have spoken probably to this one individual, which I'm not going to give names. Okay. And that person told the hotline person that they don't have cameras. Why would they tell me? Why would they say they don't have cameras if they weren't, if they didn't think somebody was nosing around asking about cameras? That was interesting. They have cameras. It's proven they have cameras. Every one of their trucks have cameras. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. That's the story. That's what AWP was told. Okay, that's what AWP was told. And if that was true, that would blow our minds. Okay.
Lisa, Nick, 100%, 150,000% work for AAA. He was dispatched from AAA. He worked for AAA. It's AAA. So anybody that's just joining, I want you to be I want you guys all to know it was AAA. I don't know if you guys just got here, but it was AAA. So I don't want any of you guys to be confused. But it absolutely 100% was AAA. It was not a dispatch call. It did not come out from AAA call center to another tow truck company. It was a AAA truck that went out to Boca. So I want to clear that up. It was 100% a AAA, one of these vehicles.
Okay. Nick is confident he saw Kylie. He spoke to 2 law enforcement agencies that he said he spoke about the video and that they confirmed the video. Now, whether or not this stuff is true or not, you guys, I don't know. Okay, I can't prove what a conversation was between Nick and these 2 other law enforcement agencies. I can't prove that, but I can tell you that this is what Nick is saying, and this is what he told AWP, and why he went to them for help, and why he stuck his neck out to put this out there. And I can understand why AWP wouldn't put all of this out there. Okay. There are things that the whole thing with pinpointing it, saying it was 100% confirmation of Jagger. Nick said he never 100% confirmed it was Jagger. Yeah, the hat, the hat. When he saw the hat, he was like, yeah, on the hat, but he didn't say that looks like the person. Okay, so that could have just, been dramatified or what. I don't know. I was not there. I do not know. So I can tell you that my goal is to get Nick's contact phone number to Mr. Rodney so that Mr. Rodney can contact Nick. the information regarding the law enforcement agencies.
Gregory, right? And that's the thing is Nick is, you know, he told Squirrel Girl he was very adamant that he wants, you know, he wants to speak to the mom. He wants, you know, obviously he'll speak to the dad, but his concern was the mom. He wants her to know what he knows, and he was, you know, upset that he hadn't heard from either of the parents, and instead was hearing from YouTubers and anybody else trying to get to the bottom of this. I mean, I don't think he was upset, but you know, it was kind of just disheartening for him to not be hearing anything from the parents of this girl, and everybody else is trying to find out, you know, what's going on. And you know, that's the hard part is, you know, he's feels very strongly about what he saw, what he encountered, and that was Kylie. And as Squirrel Girl mentioned, she is going to try to get in contact with Daniel. I did mention that earlier in my live. I'm going to see what I can do to try to help get that information for her. You know, if I can assist her in any way, if she hasn't already gotten it herself. So, like I said, she definitely, he definitely wants to speak to one of the family members, and I hope he does. Obviously, now Squirrel Girl has a way, as long as we can get in contact with Daniel, there's a way to make this happen, if that is truly something Kylie's father is wanting to do. And I really, I'm holding out hope that he does. I believe he does. I just feel that he does. And that's all we can do, is that hope that he does make contact with Nick. And like I said, I believe that if a parent gets involved and says, no, I'm not accepting this as, you know, a accident, I believe it puts a little more pressure. I don't know if, you know, even Nick, this right here coming out is going to put more pressure, because now we're showing that there's multiple stories going around about some cameras. So if there wasn't already a spotlight on the way that this case was handled, and if this was an accident, why wasn't this information released? Why didn't they say, hey, yeah, we did check that out, and you know, there wasn't any video. But that wasn't something that was discussed either. So, you know, there's a lot of different things. This case hasn't made sense from the beginning, and it just continues to get more, you know, confusing. I'm going to finish this up. The rest of the video, I do have to get going pretty soon, so I'm going to keep playing this so you guys can watch the rest of it.
As well as Nick.
And just so you know, I do have it linked in the description, so any of you that want to watch this after, please do go over to Squirrel Girl's page and watch this video. You can, you know, obviously do it on your own time, hear things that maybe I interrupted that you didn't catch fully because I started talking. I know how that gets. I apologize, but there are points that I want to talk about too, because I am reading your comments as we're watching this or listening to this.
Nick's phone number are only to be given to the ones that are up into the proper level. What they do with it, you know, they're not going to tell me. It's not my business to know, but that is information that is very useful for them, obviously. So I hope this is helpful to you guys. Nick, if you are listening to this, I hope that I communicated this in a way that makes you feel good. I have encouraged everyone to not harass you, but I can't control what other people do, but I have not given out your information or anything like that. I appreciate you giving us this information. Well, you gave me this information, and I'm choosing to share this information, not the, the agency's names and that kind of stuff, but to share your story. I know that you were being looked at as somebody that's, involved in it. And I voiced that myself, that, I didn't know. And people are going to have different opinions with this information. But I feel like right now is a good time. Nothing can be at jeopardy. I think that I think that this will clear a lot of things up for people. So you guys, I hope this helps you. I'm just reviewing my notes to make sure. Basically, the recap is that there were 2 law enforcement agencies that Nick spoke to about the footage and what he saw in the footage and about the footage itself. Then all of a sudden another county came in, took over the case regarding him, and they were telling him that there wasn't any footage, there weren't any cameras. He went to both of his bosses and they were like, nope. One of them even said, no, you weren't even up there. And then he felt like he was in the Twilight Zone, basically, like, what are you talking about? Then AWP came rolling in, and then he went to them going, you guys, this is what, this is what I saw. This is what happened to me. And I want to give you this information. Naturally, Doug and Nick would have been like, what in the world? What in the world? That would immediately make you think foul play, because why would they be saying that? And then, together with the condition of, finding, the car and that kind of stuff. They were, and then there were things,
Okay, guys, so I've been watching the comments and everything. So yeah, it was definitely AAA. So to wrap this up, you guys, it was definitely AAA. I'll put the video up. Let me grab this video real quick. I'll put the video up. This is me just going there. I mean, you guys can watch it. Of the AAA place. I had to be really quick because, like I said last time, you guys, they came out as I was getting ready to leave, so I left at the right time. So yeah, I mean, definitely was AAA. The vehicles are parked in the back. I haven't seen any vans. I don't know where the van thing's coming from. Doug did say something, but I haven't heard it from Nick. From his mouth, he referred to it as a vehicle. With Squirrel Girl, he referred to it as a truck. I mean, it was never. I've never heard it ever called a van, so I don't know where that comes from. And I also, I mean, this is just the Sparks location, so I haven't gone to the Reno one. Let's see. I just wish AWP would just put all the videos out. Yeah, I don't think that they're going to be putting any videos out of, like I said, I got an email back from them and they just said, that they had wished that law enforcement would have looked into things that are being shown a little more, or, that are being uncovered a little more by, locals or people trying to help with the case. They just wish that law enforcement was, just a little more willing to check those things out to kind of show what leads up to Kylie's disappearance. That was pretty much what they said. So it obviously they know what they know. I don't know why they decided to go quiet. I mean, everybody has their speculation. I'm not even going to look at the comments right now. I absolutely refuse to talk about the AWP thing right now, or period, because that is traumatic to me to talk about, and I'm not going to put myself through something that I personally don't want to discuss. I can't discuss it. There are many channels that are discussing it, so I'm not putting myself through that. I mentally cannot talk about that. So AWP, I do not believe are going to release any videos about what they found. They said that to me. They've said it to other channels. I think they're sticking with that. So I don't think we're going to get that footage. But we do have this, we do have the information from Nick, you guys. We finally have words from Nick. Everybody's been asking about Nick, and it obviously throws off people's, ideas, their theory, their investigation that they've been doing. It throws a wrench in everything. So it kind of puts you almost back at the beginning, but that's okay, because back at the beginning is where I was already going and what we were working on. And, you have to look for those those comments, you guys. If I could say anything, look for those comments that you can actually vet. Because if there's certain trails you can take, that there's rabbit holes any of us can get stuck going down. But there are things that you can find if you're really diligent with it. And just you have to you have to go back to the beginning. There's always usually some kind of giant distraction or thing that happens, and then all of a sudden, while that's happening, other things are happening, but nobody really sees that because we're paying attention to one specific thing. So I'm paying attention to when those things happen and what comments were left around that time. So I'm doing some footwork in the back, and way back. So if that helps find anything, then that, I obviously have to go back. I took Boca out first to admit it. I have to put it back in. It does change a lot for a lot of people, and so I hope this helped you guys in some way. I mean, this is all we have right now. And as Squirrel Girl said, the rest of the information was already sent to the DOJ. Everybody's asking why not send it to the FBI? Why not this person? Why not that person? FBI, I mean, personally for me, FBI had already washed their hands of this case and not come up with anything that we know of to assist in this. So that's not specific. That's not necessarily the area I personally would think would benefit, the most, because you have to think that we have stuff disappearing, you guys. We have stuff disappearing. So, I mean, as much as I want to be like, yes, let's just send it to the FBI, I don't know who would take it seriously, because if the FBI, I just don't know. I don't know who anymore. And I know I sound ridiculous just repeating myself, but I honestly don't. It's frustrating. It's like, what do you do? Where do you send stuff that you find that you can, 100% be like, okay, this is this, and where do you send it that you feel like it's actually going to get what it needs? It needs to get that light on it. It needs to be investigated. Where are you going to send it? So that's hard. I do, like I said, you guys, one picture. Anybody finds one picture, please let me know, because I am struggling really, really hard with the fact that there is absolutely no footage of Kylie. And that doesn't sit well with me, you guys. So I thank each and every one of you guys for coming and watching the video with me today, going over some of the footage. I have some more things I wanted to go over tonight, but I decided to do my live this morning because I saw so many questions coming in about the footage. And so I wanted to get this out there for you. So tomorrow, I'm not sure. I'm not going to tell you what time I'm going to go live, because as you can tell, I haven't been able to keep, I'm not even scheduling them because things keep happening. So I don't want to put something out there until I've fully, worked on it, vetted it, anything like that. So I'm not just going to jump on here and just put it out there, and I don't want to make it confusing. So I will be back on when I have the rest of the stuff I want to share. I will get that comment that I spoke of on this interview, or on this live. It was on somebody's Instagram, I believe. And I will get that, because I wanted to share that with you guys, because, it is a comment that was stated, that it stated that they had seen Kylie 2 days after she went missing with a friend, or the friend. I can't remember exactly. It was either or the, so I'm not sure. But I will find that. So I hope you guys, each and every one of you, have a wonderful day. If you want to go watch the entire video, please do. That's on Squirrel Girl's page. I have it linked in the description here. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. Okay. Thank you.